In the silent theater of the night, when the world retracts into shadows and the clamor of daily existence dissolves into a distant murmur, there comes an hour unlike any other, an hour pregnant with possibility, wrapped in the velvet cloak of mystery. This is the moment when, hidden beneath the quiet pulse of the cosmos, you stand at the threshold of a revelation so profound it reverberates through the very fibers of your being. It is the night you finally meet yourself. Not the self draped in transient roles or masked by the illusions of conformity, but the untamed essence, the luminous core that has, until now, lingered like a whisper behind the curtains of consciousness, waiting patiently for your gaze to fall upon it. To meet oneself in this sacred darkness is to traverse a landscape more labyrinthine than any map or chart could capture. It is a descent into an inner universe where time folds back upon itself, where memories, dreams, and futures intersect like constellations woven into an ever-shifting tapestry. Here, the architecture of identity reveals its hidden geometry, a cosmic blueprint composed not of stone and steel, but of thought, feeling, and the very breath of existence. This encounter is no mere coincidence of moments. It is an awakening to a deeper current that underlies the ceaseless ebb and flow of life, a meeting orchestrated by the unseen hands of universal law and the ancient rhythms of being. Imagine standing beneath a sky so vast and dark that the stars seem less like distant suns and more like fragments of your own soul scattered across infinity. Each glimmer is a spark of recognition, a note in a silent symphony that has played since the dawn of time. The night you finally meet yourself is akin to stepping into this cosmic concert, where the melody you hear is your own internal vibration, harmonizing with the pulse of all existence. It is as if the boundaries between self and other dissolve, and the distinction between observer and observed becomes a mere illusion, a veil lifting to reveal the primal unity at the heart of all things. This meeting is not a singular event but a pilgrimage through shadow and light, a journey that echoes the ancient rites of passage embedded in the metaphysical traditions across cultures and epochs. It is the hero's descent, the mystic's dark night of the soul, the alchemist's transformative fire. Yet, unlike a hero who conquers external foes or a mystic who seeks to transcend the world, this encounter demands a confrontation with the most intimate terrain, the vast, uncharted cosmos inside. Here lies the paradox. To truly meet yourself, you must dissolve all the facades, all the stories told to mask the raw, unfiltered essence beneath. It is a night of stripping away, of burning through the veils of ego, until nothing remains but the radiant spark of pure consciousness. And what is this self that awaits your discovery? Not the sum of your names, titles, or possessions, but the enduring flame that flickers quietly beneath all identities. It is the witness that observes thought without judgment, the silent presence that remains untouched by the shifting currents of emotion and circumstance. To meet this self is to glimpse the eternal mirror whose reflections are infinite, revealing not only who you are but who you have always been beyond the reach of time's linear march. It is a reunion with the forgotten fragments of your own divinity, an invitation to reclaim the sovereignty of your soul in a world often entangled in illusion and distraction. Yet the significance of this night extends beyond mere introspection. In the vast cosmic weave, the moment you meet yourself echoes outward, rippling through the interconnected web of existence. This meeting is a point of transformation, a subtle shift in the strata of reality itself, where the internal alchemy catalyzes external change. To know yourself on this level is to step into a new dimension of agency, where your perception shapes your reality with newfound clarity and power. It is as if the very fabric of the universe responds to your awakening, rearranging its threads to accommodate the new frequency you now embody. Here lies the secret architecture of the cosmos, a dance of consciousness that recognizes itself through the mirror of your awakening. Perhaps it is no accident that night, with its darkness and quietude, is the setting for this profound encounter. Darkness is often misunderstood as absence or void, yet it is the primordial womb from which creation springs. It is the fertile shadow where unseen seeds of potential lie dormant, awaiting the gentle illumination of self-recognition. In this sacred obscurity, the illusions we cling to lose their grip, and the boundaries between self and universe soften. The night becomes an alchemical space, a liminal theater where transformation is not only possible but inevitable. Within this chiaroscuro, the subtle energies of intuition and insight pulse strongest, guiding you through the labyrinth to the heart of your own mystery. To finally meet yourself on this night is to awaken to a truth that feels both ancient and immediate, that the deepest journey is an inward one, yet it unfolds against the backdrop of a cosmos so vast it humbles and inspires in equal measure. It is the recognition that you are both the seeker and the sought, the question and the answer, the shadow and the light. This encounter is not the end, but the beginning of a greater story, one that spans lifetimes and dimensions, unfolding in infinite cycles of awakening and remembering. As you prepare to embark on this voyage of self-discovery, imagine stepping through a doorway shimmering with stardust, into a realm where your soul's most hidden chambers open like blossoming flowers under a moonlit sky. Here, every breath is a communion with the cosmic breath, every heartbeat a drumbeat of the universal pulse. The night you finally meet yourself is not merely a moment lost to time. It is a profound unveiling, a meeting of worlds where the sacred and the mundane converge and the greatest mystery unfolds, the radiant, infinite presence that is you. Beneath the shimmering veil of night, when the world softens into shadows and silence stretches like a velvet ocean, there lies a profound terrain upon which the soul embarks its most sacred pilgrimage. To meet oneself in this realm is to navigate the intricate architecture of existence itself, a space where the familiar patterns of waking life dissolve, revealing the hidden scaffolding of reality. This night, ineffably dense with cosmic whispers and ancient rhythms, is woven from the threads of illusion and truth, light and shadow, containment and boundlessness. Here, the fundamental pillars that uphold the experience of finally meeting yourself take shape, waiting to be recognized and embraced. At the core of this awakening is the delicate interplay between the illusory self and the eternal essence, the mask and the face beneath it all. The self we carry through daily life is often a construct of memory and conditioning, a tapestry of roles, fears, desires, and wounds stitched together by the endless churn of thought. It is a spectral image, a reflection flickering on the surface of a deep, uncharted lake. This image, however convincing, is but a shadow play designed by the mind to navigate a fragmented reality. When the night deepens into that liminal space, this facade begins to crumble, revealing the radiant core that has been waiting patiently in the stillness. Here lies the first pillar, the dissolution of illusion. It is the gentle, yet relentless peeling away of the false self, the flood of insight that disintegrates the stories and patterns holding us captive. Like the breaking dawn erasing night's illusions, recognizing this erosion is the foundation for meeting the true self. Yet to glimpse the essence is only part of the journey. It is within the paradox of unity and multiplicity that the second pillar dawns, a sacred understanding of the self as both singular and infinite. The night you finally meet yourself is not a meeting with a fixed identity, but an encounter with a living, pulsating field of consciousness that transcends temporal boundaries. This self is not confined to the body or the mind. It is a manifestation of universal intelligence streaming through the vessel of your being. The stars themselves, scattered in vast constellations above, echo the fractal nature of this truth, each one a point of light reflecting the same cosmic fire that burns within you. To sit in this awareness is to dissolve the illusion of separateness and comprehend that your being is a microcosm contained within the macrocosm, an ever-expanding hologram encoding the secrets of the whole. This realization stretches the mind beyond linear time and space, inviting you to inhabit a dimension where selfhood is fluid, multidimensional, and boundless. Intertwined with this cosmic perspective is the recognition of universal patterns, ancient rhythms and archetypal cycles governing the dance of life, death, and rebirth. These patterns form the third pillar, offering a map by which the night's journey can be navigated. The meeting with yourself is less a singular event and more an initiation into the great spiral of becoming, where moments of profound clarity and transformation recur like cosmic tides. As the moon waxes and wanes, so too does the soul rise and fall in waves of awakening and forgetting. The night is a mirror reflecting this eternal dance, a threshold where the heartbeat of the universe pulses in synchrony with your own inner rhythms. Recognizing these cycles reveals that your deepest self is not a fixed destination but a living process, a symphony of change and constancy, loss and discovery. It is a sacred rhythm that invites surrender, trust, and the courage to dissolve into the flow. But if these pillars frame the architecture of meeting the self, then the space in between, fluid, silent, and enigmatic, holds the mystery of perception itself. This liminal ground pulses with the fourth guiding principle. The dance between illusion and reality is shaped by consciousness as both observer and participant. The night you finally meet yourself is a cosmic paradox, an event happening not out there in some distant realm, but within the sanctum of your own awareness. It is here, in the stillness behind thought, that the veils part and the I collapses into pure presence. The mind's relentless chatter slows, minimal enough to allow the radiant silence beneath to be heard, an eternal resonance echoing the universe's own song. In this silence, the boundaries between subject and object dissolve, revealing that reality itself is a co-creation, a dance between light and shadow conducted by the witnessing self. To awaken is to step into this role consciously, to realize that the power to shift the contours of experience lies within the tender field of observation. The night transforms into a sacred laboratory where the alchemy of seeing differently transmutes the ordinary into the extraordinary. This alchemical interplay culminates in the final pillar, surrender to the mystery of being and the embrace of paradox. The night you finally meet yourself is not a moment of arriving with answers neatly folded, but a sacred encounter with the unknowable. It invites you to release the craving for certainty and control, to lean fully into the wild unknown that lies beneath the surface of identity. Here, the true self reveals itself not as a fixed object but as a dynamic living mystery, an infinite horizon that stretches beyond thought, where light and shadow pulse in eternal reciprocity. The night becomes a cosmic threshold where the dualities of existence, joy and sorrow, creation and dissolution, presence and absence, converge into a seamless whole. It is within this profound enigma that transformation takes root, for the true meeting is not a conquest of the self, but a humble bow to its eternal dance. In the vast tapestry of the cosmos, the night you finally meet yourself aligns you with the deeper currents of universal law, the invisible threads that weave together matter and spirit, time and timelessness, illusion and truth. Each pillar stands as a testament to the journey inward, affirming that to meet oneself is to step beyond the surface illusions and participate consciously in the unfolding mystery of existence. In surrendering the fragmented self, embracing the boundless nature of being, recognizing the rhythm of cosmic cycles, witnessing through the silence of awareness, and bowing to the mystery of paradox, you do not merely encounter a reflection. You become a living expression of the cosmic heart beating through all things. This is the sacred architecture that frames the night, inviting you to awaken not just in fleeting glimpses but in radiant constancy, to remember that in meeting yourself, you meet the universe itself. In the dim realm where starlight and shadow intertwine, there exists a tale as old as the turning spheres, a story whispered among the ancient constellations, a parable stretched across the velvet canvas of night. It speaks of a wanderer, lost amid the labyrinth of their own soul, who ventures forth into the silent wilderness not to find something new, but to remember what had always been silently echoing within. The self, waiting patiently beneath veils drawn tight by fear and illusion. This wanderer, burdened by the weight of countless masks worn in the theater of life, arrives at the edge of a dark forest, a labyrinth woven not from trees but from memories and forgotten hopes. Each step forward is an immersion into the thicket of shadow selves, the fragmented reflections of a fractured identity. The forest is alive, breathing with the murmurs of ancestral whispers, the rustling of forgotten truths, and the subtle pulse of cosmic rhythm beneath the damp earth. As the night deepens, the wanderer feels the walls of separation dissolving, the branches of doubt parting to reveal an inner clearing bathed in a strange, luminous moonlight. In this clearing stands a quiet lake, its surface a perfect mirror, untouched by breeze or imperfection. The wanderer gazes deep into the glassy calm and sees not a face but a field of shifting light, flashes of past selves, future possibilities, moments of joy intertwined with sorrow. The lake is not merely a reflection but an invitation, a portal to that sacred moment when image collapses into essence. It is here, in the silence of that ancient stillness, that the night offers its cosmic gift, the final meeting with oneself, not as a static portrait but as a dance of ever-changing light and shadow. The wanderer steps closer, heart trembling, and in that breathless instant the surface ripples, not with disturbance, but with the unfolding of a secret remembered beyond words. This allegory, like a fractal unfolding infinitely within itself, mirrors the inner night where many journey yet few arrive. It is the paradox of seeking what cannot be sought, the quest for a self that can only be met when all searching ceases. The forest, the lake, the mirror, all are symbols of the barriers we construct, the illusions spun by egoic mind to avoid the intimacy of true presence. To meet oneself is to step beyond these veils. It is to witness the play of shadows and light within, to recognize the silent architect who fashioned these illusions from the clay of experience. The night you finally meet yourself is the night when the soul's cartographer lays down their pen and realizes the map was never separate from the territory. Another story blooms from the cosmic garden of timeless wisdom, where a blacksmith labors beneath a constellation of stars, forging keys from the fire of transformation. This blacksmith is not merely a craftsman of metal, but a sculptor of reality itself, hammering away at the raw ore of identity, shaping limitations into doorways, pain into wisdom. Each strike of the hammer rings with the cadence of the universe's heartbeat, the echo of creation's first breath. Here, the night is the forge, the darkness a crucible where the self, like molten metal, is melted and molded into a form that can unlock the chambers of being previously barred by fear or misunderstanding. The blacksmith's task is arduous and relentless, for every key forged demands the sacrifice of old patterns, the surrendering of worn beliefs like flaking rust. Yet within this ritual of dismantling and remaking, the night reveals its deepest paradox. The key, though wrought and shaped, does not open the door outside but the door within. It is an invitation into the sanctum of essence where the self waits uncloaked, a radiant presence beneath the ash of conditioned identity. This inner chamber is both sanctuary and mirror, where the blacksmith meets their own reflection, a reflection not defined by shape or form, but by the eternal flame that kindles the forge. Through this symbolism, the night you finally meet yourself is portrayed as a transformative alchemy, a sacred labor in the dark that births illumination. It is a reminder that the hidden knowledge we seek, ancestral, cosmic, or metaphysical, always points inward, to an inner sanctum where the fire of awareness burns free of fuel. The blacksmith's journey is every seeker's journey, embodying the paradox that to grasp the infinite, one must first be willing to be broken and remade in the silence of night's crucible. In a further unfolding of the self's cosmic narrative, envision a solitary traveler crossing a vast desert beneath an expanse of stars sharper than 1,000 truths. The desert, both barren and abundant, is a metaphor for the desolation one feels when all outer references dissolve, leaving only the raw terrain of consciousness exposed. Each grain of sand, a moment of experience, stretches endlessly into horizons that both confine and invite. The traveler, weary from the pursuit of identity, carries a lantern that flickers with the fragile light of awareness. This lantern illuminates a path not toward escape, but toward embrace, a path where the traveler learns that the desert itself is not void but canvas, where the self is etched in the dance of shadow and flame. As the traveler journeys deeper into the desert night, the stars begin to pulse with a cadence that resonates with the beating of their heart. The heavens, once distant and inscrutable, now seem to breathe in unison with the self. In this vast solitude, the traveler encounters the desert's secret. The night is not emptiness but fullness, not silence but a symphony of being. The harshness of the desert, the isolation, the seeming emptiness, all fold back into a profound presence where the traveler finally meets the self in its naked essence, a radiant point of light that quietly illuminates the cosmic expanse within. This story echoes an eternal truth. The night you finally meet yourself is often clothed in apparent desolation and solitude. It is in the stripping away of distractions, in the surrender to emptiness, that the self reveals its luminous core. The desert's expanse mirrors the vastness within, reminding us that the quest for self-knowledge is less a journey outward than an ever-deepening return home. Each step across the shifting sands is a step through layers of illusion, each heartbeat a drum summoning the traveler to recognize that the self is both the lonely wanderer and the vast firmament under which they walk. Through these interwoven allegories, the wanderer in the forest, the blacksmith at the forge, and the traveler in the desert, the night you finally meet yourself emerges as a sacred saga of transformation. It is a narrative woven from threads of paradox and mystery, where light is inseparable from shadow, where loss is the seed of discovery, and where the final encounter is not an end but an eternal beginning. Each symbol carries the echoes of universal law. That awakening arises not from addition but from peeling away, that truth is not grasped but remembered, and that the self is less a fixed entity than a cosmic dance unfolding in perfect rhythm with the pulse of existence itself. In coming to meet oneself at this threshold, the night becomes a luminous space of surrender and celebration, a crucible where the fragment itself dissolves into the unbroken whole. It is in these tales, spun from the fabric of stars and shadow, that we glimpse the hidden architecture of becoming, the sacred geometry of inner awakening. To walk these stories is to move beyond the known into the realm of radiant mystery, where the night's final gift unfolds, the recognition that in meeting oneself, one does not find a stranger but a cosmic kinship, an eternal reflection of the universe cradled tenderly within the heart. To carry the luminescence of that transformative night into the waking hours is to undertake a sacred pilgrimage from the realm of metaphor into the tapestry of daily existence. The echoes of cosmic dialogues and shadowed forests do not remain distant fables, but instead become living whispers that trail alongside every measured step and breath. When you finally meet yourself in that profound darkness, it is an invitation to trace the contours of your own being with a gentler hand, a hand that no longer seeks to conquer or to flee, but to hold space for the unvarnished truth of your inner landscape. This encounter, while rooted in the ethereal folds of spiritual allegory, cascades into the mundane moments where the self often hides behind masks of obligation, fear, or conditioned response. In practical terms, the night you meet yourself leads to an unveiling of authenticity, a shedding of the roles you have long performed to appease the external world. It invites you to recognize the subtle yet pervasive narratives that shape your identity, not as immutable facts, but as stories that once served survival and now crave transformation. As you walk through this awareness, daily interactions shift from automatic performances to conscious engagements, each conversation a mirror reflecting shades of your own concealed depths. This alchemy of self-recognition nurtures compassion, not only directed inward but radiating outward, softening the rigid boundaries that separate you from others. The once solitary traveler becomes a participant in a shared human experience where vulnerability is strength and connection becomes a form of sacred geometry. At a deeper level, the reverberations of that night begin to dissolve the rigid partitions between what is considered spiritual and what is practical. The insights born from the encounter ripple through decision-making processes, infusing even the most routine acts with quiet intentionality. The choice of a word, the gesture of kindness, the momentary pause before reacting, all become threads in a vast cosmic loom where conscious living is the warp and the weft. The transformation is not about achieving a perfected state, but about discovering the sacred potential embedded within imperfections and contradictions. It is an ongoing dialogue with the self, in which each moment offers an opportunity to pivot from fragmentation toward wholeness, from unconscious patterns toward awakened presence. In the landscape of modern life, where distractions are ceaseless and the psyche is often overburdened with noise, the night you finally meet yourself becomes a beacon for cultivating stillness. This stillness is not a mere absence of activity, but a vibrant ground where inner clarity flourishes. It encourages the cultivation of rituals and practices that honor your restored relationship with yourself, whether through meditation, mindful movement, journaling, or simply pausing to breathe consciously. These acts, seemingly small against the backdrop of cosmic mystery, serve as anchors that tether you to the profound awareness discovered in that nocturnal encounter. They are reminders that the sacred is not distant or abstract, but intimately woven into the cadence of your daily rhythms. Moreover, this encounter fosters an expansion of perception that alters your relationship with time itself. The night you meet yourself teaches that time is not a linear adversary, but a cyclical dance, a spiral weaving backward and forward through layers of memory, experience, and potential. This shift invites a patient kind of self-engagement, one that embraces the unfolding process without rushing toward outcomes or resolutions. Therein lies a liberation from the anxious grip of future-focused striving. Instead, presence becomes the sanctuary where healing and growth occur organically. Life, seen through this lens, is not a series of external achievements, but an inner odyssey where every breath carries the potential for renewal and rediscovery. This expanded awareness also calls forth a reevaluation of relationship dynamics, both with others and with the world at large. As you integrate the lessons from meeting yourself, you begin to perceive relationships as reflections, mirrors that reveal not only the joys and compatibilities, but the shadows and projections waiting to be understood. This does not mean becoming trapped in endless analysis or blame, but rather cultivating a tender discernment that honors both your own boundaries and the authenticity of others. The interplay of connection and solitude becomes a delicate dance, where mutual respect is born from self-respect. In this way, the mystical encounter nurtures grounded empathy, inviting you to engage with the world from a place of inner abundance rather than scarcity or fear. The night you finally meet yourself also plants seeds for embracing paradox and uncertainty as essential companions on the path of awakening. It reveals that clarity is not the absence of mystery, but the willingness to dwell within it, to hold questions without the desperate need for answers. This openness softens the drive for control, a hallmark of the egoic self, and opens portals to creativity, intuition, and the spontaneous unfolding of life's deeper rhythms. Practically, this translates into a way of being that navigates challenges not as battles to be won, but as passages to be traversed with courage and grace. It is an invitation to trust in the unseen architecture of existence, to lean into the great unfolding with a heart both fearless and tender. Ultimately, bringing the grandeur of that cosmic night into the fabric of everyday life is a continuous, living practice of remembrance. It is a reclamation of the self, not as a fixed identity bound by past wounds or societal expectations, but as a dynamic, radiant expression of universal consciousness. In the everyday moments, whether bathing in the golden light of dawn, engaging with the mundane tasks of work and care, or resting in the quiet stillness before sleep, there lies an opportunity to reconnect with that intimate, eternal self. To live from this place is to carry the night's luminous gift, the unshakable knowing that you are both the seeker and the sought, the question and the answer, the infinite mystery and its tender revelation. It is this realization that transforms not only your own experience of life, but also the collective tapestry of human awakening, strand by luminous strand. In the quiet aftermath of that transcendent night, the night you finally meet yourself, a gentle stillness settles like the soft echo of a cosmic breath, lingering long after the stars have dimmed and the first whispers of dawn stretch their fingers across the horizon. It is in this sacred silence that the vast contours of your inner landscape come into sharper relief, revealing not just fragmented shadows or hidden fears, but an infinite tapestry woven from the threads of your deepest truth. This meeting is not a conclusion, but the opening of a portal, a threshold where the familiar self dissolves into the radiant mystery of what it means to simply be. To meet yourself in such fullness is to recognize the paradox at the heart of existence, that the self is both a solitary island adrift in the ocean of consciousness and a fluid wave that rises and falls within the boundless sea. It is here, in this liminal space, that you confront the delicate alchemy of identity, where the masks once clung to with desperate grip melt away, revealing the naked essence beneath. There is no longer a need to perform or protect, no imperative to sculpt your being according to external molds. Instead, you become the silent witness and the vibrant actor in a play that unfolds endlessly, a dance choreographed by the unseen hand of universal rhythm. As the echoes of that night resonate through the corridors of your mind, they invite you to embrace the paradox of light and shadow, clarity and enigma, unity and multiplicity. You come to understand that the quest for self-knowledge is not a linear path leading to a final destination, but a spiraling journey that circles ever closer to your core, deeper into the labyrinth of your soul's purpose. Each revelation draws you nearer to the essence, yet also reveals new layers and dimensions, as if the self is an eternal fractal, infinitely complex and breathtakingly simple all at once. But meeting yourself is not a solitary act of introspection disconnected from the world. It is a profound reconciliation with the interconnected web of life. You begin to see the reflection of your own inner cosmos mirrored in the eyes of strangers, the whisper of your breath entwined with the rustling leaves, the cadence of your heartbeat aligned with the pulsing stars overhead. This recognition dissolves the boundaries that once separated I from other, knitting together a tapestry of shared existence, where empathy becomes the natural language and compassion the sacred geometry of living. There is an awakening to the truth that the self you have met is not isolated, but fundamentally woven into the grand, luminous design of being. This realization carries a quiet but potent transformation, one that moves beyond the abstract realm of thought into the tangible texture of everyday life. The night you meet yourself infuses your waking hours with a new depth of presence, a luminosity that colors even the most mundane moments with meaning. The habitual rush slows, the noise of distractions fades into a softer hum, and you begin to perceive the subtle rhythms that pulse beneath the surface of time. In this heightened state of awareness, your actions gain a resonance that echoes far beyond their immediate context. Choices are no longer random, but reflections of a deeper alignment with your authentic nature, a conscious weaving of intention with the vast cosmic fabric. Yet this transformation is not a destination fixed in time. It is a living, breathing process that invites continual surrender and courage. There will be tides of doubt, shadows of old conditioning that rise like restless waves seeking to reclaim lost territory. But the memory of that night remains an anchor, a guiding star that shines steadfast through the tempests. It calls you back from the edges of fragmentation to the center of wholeness, reminding you that the self you met, the radiant, complex, ever-unfolding self, is always present, patiently waiting in the intimate silence beyond words. In this invitation lies the profound call to step boldly into your own becoming, to live as both the artist and the canvas of your existence. It is to hold the paradox of being both the architect of your destiny and the humble recipient of life's mysteries. To finally meet yourself is to awaken to the sacred dance between freedom and surrender, knowing that true power arises not from control, but from the openness to flow with the unseen currents that shape the infinite ocean of experience. So, as you rise from that cosmic night, carrying its luminous wisdom like a secret flame held close to your heart, pause and breathe deeply into the vastness it has revealed. Let the echoes of this encounter ripple through your being, inviting reflection and transformation in equal measure. Perhaps in this gentle unfolding, you will find that meeting yourself was never a solitary event, but the rekindling of an eternal communion, a reunion with the radiant pulse of consciousness from which all life springs and to which all life returns. In the end, the night you finally meet yourself is both a revelation and a reminder that you are the great mystery embodied, the seeker and the sanctuary, the question whispered across the stars, and the answer cradled within your own unfolding soul. To live from this place is the greatest gift you can offer the world, a living testament to the luminous possibility that resides in each moment, waiting patiently for your return.